Well, hello there. Welcome to the Dana Spencer pre show, where we talk about solving problems, building relationships, quitting corporate, and the freedom to walk in your God given purpose. What's going on out there, everybody? Something's going on over there. I don't know what that is. Remove. I don't know what I just did. Okay. Oh, goodness. All right. Hopefully, we can be out there for somebody. What's up? How we feeling? So here's the thing. It's super cloudy here today in Louisville, Kentucky. It's Monday. Happy Monday to everybody. And here's the thing. Your joy has to come from within. You cannot depend on external circumstances that will determine whether or not you have joy, because what we've heard is if you're happy, that depends on what is happening. Whereas if you have joy, the joy that's inside of you, it didn't come from this world, right? It came from up above. So I challenge you to get that joy in your heart. And if you do not have that joy, if you do not have Jesus Christ in your heart, please, please, please send me a direct message. Let's chat for coffee so that I can share with you how to know for sure that you are 100% for sure you go to heaven and that you have the joy inside of you that nobody can take away. All right, so today I got on my extreme execution t-shirt because we are all about executing. So today we are double clicking into solving problems. So there are people out there who they don't like confrontation. And then there are some of us out here that didn't even realize that they don't really have a problem with confrontation. So if you're one of these people, drop a comment as to whether or not you avoid confrontation or you take confrontation on head on. And I'm going to share my screen and show you what the difference between whether or not you are probably confrontational or not. So I'm sharing with you my flight assessment, and I talk all the time about the flight assessment. Dr. Eric Thomas took the DISC assessment, the DISC, and the Lord gave him some characters to go along with the DISC so that we can understand it better and relate to it a lot better. So when we think about the pilot, that would be the D in the DISC. The pilot is very direct, very driven, very competitive, depending on where you land on the spectrum. So look at me. So I am up here with decisive and competitive. And so it's so interesting to me that these behavioral preferences show up in different areas of your life. Sometimes it's like, hey, I need my pilot to kick in certain circumstances. And then for whatever reason, you're not responding in your most authentic self. And so when you're not responding in your most authentic self, then typically that is you are adapting. You feel like you're being watched. And we act differently when we feel like we're being watched. A great example of that is when we are in the gym. So when you're in the gym and nobody is really in there and you're like in your zone and you don't feel like anybody is watching you, then, you're just doing your thing or whatever. But if you feel like you're being watched and a cute guy is in there and you're doing things a little bit differently, come on, women, go ahead and drop me some comments. Like we act differently when we feel like we're being watched. The challenge with that is if we're acting in that inauthentic self because we are different and we're not acting in our natural self, our authentic self, then that requires more energy from us. Just think about people who are consider themselves as being introverted. When they have to go out in public and have a presentation or be around a lot of people, for them it's draining. That's not their natural self. So it's draining for them. They have to go and lay down for several hours because exerting all of that energy, it's a lot for them. For some people, we draw energy from other people. So depending on where you are on the spectrum really depends on your behavioral preferences. And so for me, and I didn't even realize this. I didn't realize I was competitive until I took the assessment and I'm like, I'm competitive? And I was like, I'm not competitive. And then I remembered I played the clarinet. And when I was in high school, first chair. There was no other option but first chair, right? So we these behavioral preferences show up in different areas. How does this relate to real estate? Well, in terms of investing in real estate, I have said this over and over and over and over again. Real estate is about solving problems. Every single day, you will be faced with problems. And let's face it, if you don't surround yourself with the people who can help you to solve those problems quickly, then you're going to find real estate to be frustrating, and it's going to be harder than what it has to be. And you're going to want to quit. So I challenge you, I promise you, when we talk about building relationships is real, because when those problems happen, if you don't have people in your phone that you can reach out to and who will come through for you, then I promise you're not going to like real estate. Have multiple plumbers, have multiple electricians, have multiple contractors in your phone, so that when you have a problem, you can depend on some people who can help you to solve those problems very, very quickly. So let's be extreme executioners. So if you are the person who maybe you're not competitive, you're more peaceful, right? You just want everybody to get along. You don't like confrontation. Partner up with somebody who is the opposite of you. And I know this is going to feel uncomfortable, because what happens is, if I'm a very direct person, we want to be with very direct people. We don't have time to be almost, that would have been bad. I almost said, I'll go ahead and say it since I thought it. We don't have time to be kind. That's not a nice thing to say. We need to work on. That's why being understanding this helps you to be a better communicator, because if you you can't treat people how you want to be treated. As competitive people, as decisive people, we want decisive back. Here's another example. If the Lord lays on my heart to give somebody some money, like we'll have sermons about, you should, give when the Lord pricks your heart about doing something for other people. And I remember one time when I worked downtown, I had one of those phones where it would have a pouch where you could put some money in there. And so this day in particular, because there would always be, homeless people or people asking for money downtown. And so it was one of those sermons, the Lord pricked my heart about, giving somebody some money. So I put my money in my phone so that the next person who says something to me, I could just give them the money. So I'm on a conference call and I'm downtown. I'm like over there where the Heine Brothers is. So it's about 5th and Main. And so I'm on a conference call and a lady's coming towards me. And the look, how they're about to ask you for some money. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'll go ahead and get it out, because if I have to turn away, then you're not the person, because I want to be able to just give it to you and boom. So she approaches me and she's about to give me the story. Drop it in the comments if you're like, I don't want your story. Either the Lord has pricked it on my heart to give you some money, or he hasn't. I really don't want the story. Either I'm going to give you some money or I'm not. I know that sounds horrible, but that's just not me. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. If I'm not going to do it, and if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. So, and I'm on a conference call. I'm on a work conference call. I'm on a conference call. The woman approaches me and she's going on a story, and I'm just like, boom, like, no. I don't want your story. Here's the money. Keep going. I'm on a conference call. I'm working, but the Lord pricked my heart to give you some money. So drop it in the comments if you're like, I don't want your story. Or if you're like, no, I want the story. I want to hear the situation. That's not me. So in terms of communication, we've got to learn who is who. We've got to understand this is the person who is non-confrontational. And that looks like asking them questions differently, because typically they're not going to tell you how they really feel. And you have to ask the right questions, not questions like yes or no questions. So when you recognize, and I promise you, if you are intentional about observing and listening, you can figure this out, or reach out to me so you can get the assessment so that I can help you to understand you first. And when you understand you first, then that will help you understand other people. Then you can change your behavior and ask the right questions. I'll give you a free one. Typically, someone is more of a grounds crew when it's time to decide where to go to eat, they're never going to say, oh, I got a taste for Italian. They're never going to say that. They're always going to defer it to you. So you have to say something like, depending on what preference you want. So like if you have a taste for a burger versus a steak, and then you say, hey, would you like to go to the burger place or the steak place? Like you have to give them two options so that at least one of the options is what you want, and then maybe they will give you a preference between the two. But most of the time they're going to defer it to you and say, well, what do you have a taste for? Well, what do you feel like eating? Like this is, and it can be frustrating, especially think about this if this is your spouse, right? So understand, I promise you, this assessment has helped me in so many different ways. If you are struggling with communicating with your spouse, with your children, on the job, in the community, in the church, reach out to me so that you can take this assessment and we can do a 30-minute consultation where I can help you understand you and then help you to become a better communicator. So do me a huge favor, huge favor. Go over to Facebook and like my page. Go to @the Dana Spencer Show over on Facebook. Like my business page. Once we get to 100 likes, I will give away a free flight assessment along with a 30-minute consultation. You heard it right here. Go over there, Facebook @the Dana Spencer Show. Like the business page. Once we get to 100 likes, I'm going to give away a free flight assessment along with a 30-minute consultation. So that's all I got for you. Go out there and execute. Go out there and be amazing on purpose. Until next time, thank you for tuning in to the Dana Spencer Show. And we are super close to launching. I've got about 8 episodes under my belt. I'm super excited about that. I've got about three or four more this week, and we are going to launch very, very soon. So get ready to head over to my podcast once I officially launch. But I'm super excited. Thank you for showing up for the Dana Spencer Show. Until next time, go out and be great.